Let's see. Hopefully this works. Because I just filmed this 2 times and it didn't really have any audio. But of course I love surprise challenges. It enlivens. Okay, I'm getting off topic. Anyways, welcome to the second episode of my short little series on my Taiwan trip. If you want to see the first video on where I talked about transportation and how people got around to different places, you can click it over here. So without further ado, why don't we just get into the second video. For this video, I want to talk about foods I ate and restaurants I was able to go to during my trip. And so I'll just start off with breakfast since it's the very beginning. At the beginning of our trip, when we just got off the plane, it's like 5 a.m. or so, we went to this one breakfast restaurant and ate this thing called Sao Bin You Tiao. It's a really typical Chinese breakfast item. It's basically on the outside you have the bread thing, and then for this one specifically, it's like slightly sweetened, and then there's sesames and green onions, and the inside is like this oil, deep fried oil flour thing that you put inside, and it's like kind of like a sandwich thing, and then it's commonly eaten with like also like a Chinese omelet. You can also get sweet, cold, or hot soy milk, or you could also get salty hot soy milk, which I heard but I never tried, so therefore I don't have any footage of it. But what I heard of it is basically it's like curdled soy milk because you add a lot of vinegar and it just doesn't become soy milk anymore. It's all chunky and like salty, and it wasn't really appealing, so I did not eat it. Yeah, no. Later in the trip, a really close friend of my parents took us to a Japanese hotel for breakfast. It was like a buffet. It was all Asian style food, most of it at least. So you got like rice to like fish to vegetables, seaweed, stuff like that. And then you'll just put it on like a little tray and then bring it back to your table and eat. And they also have these really cool mini jars of jam that I wish I could bring over to the plane, but I couldn't because they're all these tiny, really awesome little cups of jam. On another day, these same people took us to one of the houses of former President Chiang Kai-shek. He's the president of Taiwan, and they took us to his house, and then it's now like a historical museum, and there's a cafe, so we ate cake. In my first video, I said I biked along part of the Danshui River and crossed that bridge. We passed by on the other side of the river to a small coffee shop. An interesting story, it made the headline news because recently the previous manager of the coffee shop poisoned this elderly couple because of some sort of feud or argument, something like that. And the elderly couple died, and then of course the manager couldn't work there, put in jail I think, and then new manager, except now it's super famous because apparently when two people die it makes anything famous in a good way. But yes, a lot of people are taking pictures and everything. Some people are even taking graduation pictures. You're basically taking someone's pictures at the graveyard, which is a little odd, but moving on, we went to this department store near Taipei 101, which used to be the Rose Hut skyscraper until Dubai had their building. Anyways, at the bottom of the department store was a food court with plastic food on display and everything. It's pretty typical in Taiwan. And then we went up a few floors, really cool bathroom. It was all super clean, super nice, so I had to get some footage of it. And then we went up a few more floors, and there's an Italian restaurant, ate some pizza. Now another of my parents' friends took us to this Mongolian barbecue place where it was like a bar, just like raw meats and vegetables and all these like oils and spices you get added in. And then after you do that, you just put it in front of the chef will cook in front of you, bring it back to your table, and then you could eat. And you could also have this little pot thing. It's really traditional actually. This brown pot on your table, and then it's the center is like this pipe of like burning coal. There's smoke coming out from the top, and around it is like this like boiling broth where you put your food inside and it'll cook. Or you could just not cook your food and just eat everything raw. Guess that would be an option. On another night, my family was just like wandering, kind of discovered this one restaurant. It's a German restaurant, by the way. Really cool sink in the bathroom. It was like this basin that like the water flowed downwards instead of like a bowl. It was pretty nice. Anyways, there's some salad, soup, pasta, lasagna, more pasta, and some cake. By the way, those lasagna pan handles almost burned my skin off my hand because I was too stupid and grabbed it, trying to pick it up, except it was like just out of the oven, so I almost burned myself. Now remember those people that took us to a Japanese hotel place for breakfast? Well, they also took us to another hotel for breakfast on another day, obviously. Near the entrance was this like pond where the water was like just touching the edge, and it looked like it was like flowing 90 degrees off the building, so it's pretty cool. Now on the breakfast, there was like a buffet. There's like fruits and like crackers, stuff like that. You can get limited food, or you could also go pick up a menu and get like this like dish, order a dish for breakfast. The cool thing was, however, for this breakfast place, you could reorder stuff from the menu over and over again, so it was basically a buffet. Same people, I know they took us to a ton of different places, but they also took us to this really fancy cupcake shop, and each cupcake are like this big, and then they were like $3 US. It was crazy. But the cupcakes were all really good. And they took us to another really fancy coffee house with like imported coffee beans from like Africa or like India, places like those. Except I don't personally drink a lot of coffee, so I got some hot chocolate. This is Din Tai Fung, internationally known for their xiaolongbao. They're like these small steamed buns that look like dumplings, but Chinese people don't really consider them dumplings. But anyways, here they are, and then being a lover of spicy things, I smothered it in spicy oil. Here's some fried rice, some noodles, more spicy oil dribbling over it, and then some pasta crust dribbling with spicy oil, and then some sticky rice cake with red bean paste inside for dessert. Okay, now this will be the last place. It's called Wanping. It's a really fancy steakhouse. Of course, I wore shorts and t-shirts to it. But anyways, the person that took us here was also the same person that took us to the Mongolian barbecue place with the brown pot thingies. First, some fancy apple fruit champagne, and then some bread and butter and some liver paste, which I never eaten liver before, except this thing was like amazing. Then some yogurt, fruit, and shrimp salad, and then the lavender champagne with like a little flour inside. And then came the soup. By the way, those 2 pieces of garlic bread, those were the best garlic bread I've ever had, hands down. It's like firm but also really soft, except the flavor is also like really even. Okay. Anyways, the waiters pouring the soup, me having some fun editing, another person's soup, iced prune juice, and then the main course. Of course, there's a lot of steak, but this one was a fish one, and then there's like cod, some fruit, a pomegranate mousse, caramel in a shell, and then like a chocolate case with like liquid chocolate inside, which is really interesting because you like stab your fork inside, it's almost like rubber chocolate, and then break open and like chocolate lava, they called it, would like pour out. And then this was like an almond pudding and tea flavored ice cream. Then came some coffee, but I got some tiramisu milk tea. Anyways, those are some of the highlights of the different foods I was able to eat in Taiwan. Of course, while they're all Asian in the sense that they all take place in Taiwan, they're of course not all traditionally Taiwanese. But it's interesting how like Taiwan integrated all of these Western factors into it, and then it's like an Asian take on like American food. So next time I'll probably be talking about markets and shopping. If you did enjoy this video, I would love it if you give this a thumbs up. I will see you soon. Bye!